Hi there, and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Update, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest to asylum seekers and those who want to stay current on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
Border Patrol's migrant rescue program may cause harm despite intent to save people. Religious groups sue over green card delays for foreign-born clergy in U.S. Advocacy groups oppose revival of failed border bill, citing harm to asylum seekers. Texas judge extends block on program for undocumented family members. Court allows USCIS to withhold asylum officers' confidential assessments.
I'm Brian Manning. I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. It's my pleasure to bring you asylum and immigration reform updates each week right here on the Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to the news. First up,
the U.S. Border Patrol's Missing Migrant program, designed to prevent migrant deaths, may be inadvertently causing them, a new report concludes. The program, which redirects 911 calls from lost Spanish-speaking migrants to Border Patrol agents, has been criticized for prioritizing law enforcement over humanitarian aid. Internal documents reveal that the agency's pursuit of migrants can increase danger, sometimes leading to fatalities. The program's effectiveness is questioned, with hundreds of migrants falling through the cracks after calling for help. Critics argue that the Border Patrol's dual mandate of enforcement and rescue creates a conflict of interest, potentially violating international standards for humanitarian aid. The agency's culture and history of contempt for migrants further complicate its role in rescue operations. Despite increased funding and technology, migrant deaths continue to rise, highlighting the need for a reevaluation of border policies and rescue practices.
And next up, for update number 2,
the Catholic Diocese of Paterson, New Jersey, has filed a lawsuit against federal agencies over a procedural change in green card processing for religious workers. This change has created a significant backlog, threatening the ability of thousands of foreign-born clergy to continue their ministry in the U.S. The lawsuit argues that the new process disrupts religious freedoms and community services. Religious organizations across denominations rely heavily on foreign-born clergy due to shortages, but the current wait time for green cards could extend to 10 to 15 years. This situation affects various faiths, from Catholic priests to Buddhist monks. Religious leaders and immigration advocates are lobbying for both legislative and administrative fixes, including allowing applicants to change ministry jobs without losing their place in line and reducing the required time spent outside the U.S. after visa expiration.
All right, time for our third immigration update.
Over 80 immigration and human rights organizations have issued an open letter to President Biden and Vice President Harris, opposing any attempts to revive the Border Act of 2024. This bipartisan bill, which failed to pass earlier after Donald Trump called on Republicans to block it, would have granted the president authority to halt asylum processing at the border under certain conditions. The organizations argue that the bill would harm the U.S. asylum system and potentially lead to numerous deaths. They criticize provisions such as increased funding for immigration and customs enforcement and a new asylum standard, claiming these would negatively impact vulnerable migrants. The letter emphasizes that efficient border processes should focus on keeping families together, reducing backlogs, and ensuring fair treatment for immigrants. These groups vow to resist efforts to reintroduce the bill, asserting that it treats immigrants as political pawns.
And moving right along, update number 4.
A Texas federal judge has extended a temporary block on the Biden administration's Keeping Families Together program for an additional 14 days. The program, which allows certain undocumented spouses and stepchildren of U.S. citizens to apply for green cards while remaining in the country, is being challenged by Texas and 15 other states. The judge denied the Department of Homeland Security's request to lift the stay, citing the need for an expedited hearing on the state's motion for a preliminary injunction. While not ruling on the likelihood of the plaintiff's success, the judge deemed their claims serious enough to warrant consideration of potential irreparable harm. The court emphasized that the brief extension is unlikely to significantly impact foreign nationals' decisions regarding their U.S. residency. The judge also accelerated the hearing schedule in light of the government's detailed arguments.
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
The District of Columbia Circuit Court has ruled that U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services can withhold asylum officers' confidential assessments from Freedom of Information Act requests. The court determined that disclosing these reports, which detail the officer's analysis in making decisions on cases, could harm government interests by potentially causing asylum officers to temper their opinions or enabling migrants to fabricate asylum claims. This decision upholds a lower court ruling and rejects arguments from 4 asylum seekers who sought their assessment records. The court credited the agency's explanation that releasing such information could compromise the integrity of the asylum process. While factual portions of the assessments are released, analytical sections remain protected under the deliberative process privilege. The ruling emphasizes the need to safeguard internal recommendations and deliberations in current asylum adjudications.
And that wraps up this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an Asylum Strategy Session so that we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.